Yeah, everything's awake except me. Well, what a week, 10 days that's been. Now let's be honest, it's not over yet. Oh, and my Wahoo's decided it's going to do everything except any kind of satellite connection. Good grief. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Right, let's go this way. Yeah, so I can't tell you how fast I'm going and I can't tell you how far I've been. But my heart rate's 95 at the minute. Okay. As you can probably tell, it's getting dark again in the mornings now, noticeably. I mean, it's 6 o'clock now. We've got front and rear lights on. They haven't got any lights on, but that's okay. Silver car on a grey background, it wouldn't be a problem, would it? But anyway. Oh dear. Yeah, so first time on a bike for, well, I suppose 11 days now. And yeah, it's a forced absence, as it were. Went up to the Midlands to join in with the FCC Midlands ride. Everything fine on the Saturday. Weather not looking great, but fine. You know, both feeling good. Bit of shopping on the Saturday. Didn't go for a ride because the weather was sort of hit and miss. Oh dear, what is going on? Wow. But you know, generally felt okay. Not a problem. Sunday morning, woke up. God, was I stiff all over. Stiff neck especially, just, you know. Yeah, didn't feel right at all. Aching. Just thought, oh, I must have slept funny. It was really hot in the hotel. We had a fan going. I thought, oh, you know, I've obviously got hot, had the fan blowing on me. I've stiffened up and I'm all like, you know, it'll be all right. I'll loosen up in a bit. Not a problem. So, sort of went with it. Took some painkillers just to see if I could just relax a bit and loosen myself up. Everything in the car, down to the start. Got the bikes ready. Still feeling a bit iffy. Yeah, well, within 5 minutes of starting the ride, I felt like I was going to throw up. I'll be honest, that's just the easy, simple way to put it. Very, very empty feeling in my stomach. Not feeling well at all. Just nothing there. And I thought, well, this is really weird because all I've had is a porridge this morning, one of those instant porridge things in the hotel room. You know, just add boiling water. We ate last night. I've slept through the night, so that's not the, that's not an issue. Very, very empty feeling. And then, well, it didn't hit me at the time, but about a couple of miles into the ride, I realised this is how I felt on the day of the Isle of Wight. I was sweating profusely. Something was wrong, definitely. And it's like I said about the Isle of Wight. Something was wrong. I couldn't put my finger on it. I definitely couldn't put my finger on it on the Midlands ride, but it was like the same thing, but tenfold. Yeah, I really did feel like I was going to be sick. The legs seemed to be working fine. I was still turning over quite well. I was keeping up. It wasn't too bad. That did change towards the end of the ride, but obviously an FCC ride, it's no drop. Everybody was very courteous. They put up with me, you know, dragging along behind at the end, and they also put up with me being antisocial at the end by just riding straight through the group and thanking them for waiting and then fucking off, basically, to get back to the car. At that point, that was my only thought. I can't be stuck out in the middle of the countryside, you know, being sick or just not being able to ride my bike too far from anywhere. I need to get back to the car now. So anyway, that's kind of how the ride went for me. Julie had fun. Yeah, it was nice and sociable. She enjoyed it. I'm glad she did. For me, it was just this constant feeling of not being well. It did come in waves, actually. When we stopped at the cafe, I thought, right, I'm going to eat something, because I haven't been sick. I just feel like I'm going to be sick. At that point, I hadn't even sort of had a reach or anything. So I did have something, and actually I felt better. But I think it was because I'd stopped and was resting. Anyway, a very uncomfortable drive back home in the evening, and straight down the doctor the next day because something, became very obvious very quickly, actually, and that was my leg. My left leg had blown up like a balloon, and apparently I have cellulitis in my left leg, and it was I don't know, maybe something that's been hovering around there. The doctor said that, you know, if you break the skin or catch a bramble or stuff like that, you know, the infection can get in. Well, let's be honest, you know, off-road riding on the gravel bikes, we do cycle through the bushes and brambles a lot. So that's sort of made sense. But yeah, I just wonder if that's been hovering over me for a little while, and I've sort of managed to fight it off until that point. It was quite an unreal sensation, actually, for a few days. The fever and the nausea just kept coming. That never went away. And yes, many change of bed sheets later. Antibiotics and what have you, and we're still here. Went to the doctor yesterday again, and he said no, this is not good enough, you're going to have to take more antibiotics. So yeah, 11 days on, and I've still got 5 days left of antibiotics to take. So that'll be almost, what's that, that'll be yeah, that'll be 13 days of antibiotics, of which I've just taken one, and it's one of those ones where you have to take it at least an hour before food or 2 hours after food. So I just thought to myself, I can't eat for an hour, have breakfast for an hour, so what shall I do? Oh, I'll tell you what, I'll just go out for a ride, eh? And actually it doesn't feel too bad. My leg is much better. It doesn't feel as sore. It's certainly not as swollen up as it was. I might put some pictures on the top of this, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so yeah, that was a bit of a shock. Didn't expect that. It does explain a few things. You know, Julie said I was, you know, green around the gills, as it were, the same as I was on the morning of the Isle of Wight. That seemed to clear. I don't know what happened this time to just make it just come out and hit me, but I'm glad it did. It's a shame it happened on a group ride, you know, where we hadn't seen the people for a while, and what have you. But Julie had fun, that's the main thing. And yeah, it was okay. It was okay. I did explain to a couple of them what was going on and how I felt, just in case I had to leave the ride, you know, find a short way back or something. But what I didn't want to do was, you know, pull the trigger too early, as it were, because I was actually okay, as in I felt horrible, but I was turning the pedals over okay, and I was sort of staying with everyone. There were points where I felt good and I was out the front, and there were points where I was just, I need this to end. But, you know, I think if I'd have gone back to the car, Julie would have joined me, of course. And I didn't really want that. She was having fun. You could hear she was smiling, laughing. And that was all the tonic I needed, all the encouragement I needed, I guess, to keep going. Which was good. It was a good day. It does mean I haven't been able to enjoy any screen time, because one of the side effects of it, for sure, was yeah, very fuzzy headaches, not being able to look at screens. It was really quite painful for the first few days at least, and then even then, yeah, it was just very unpleasant. The whole thing was just very unpleasant. It's just one of those things. It's something I haven't really had to put up with in my life, let's put it that way. I don't usually get ill very often, but this was, yeah, this is something I hadn't experienced before. It was all-consuming, you know. The sweats and the shakes and what have you, they were just relentless. Came in waves, which was good, so I did get some respite from it. But unbelievable amount of fluids I went through just to keep up. I was just sweating it out so much. Yeah. So there you go. That is the story of the last almost 2 weeks now. And here I am, back on my bike, doing, I don't know, 12 miles an hour. Apparently my wife, who is so disgusted with me, it just refuses to tell me what I'm doing in the way of speed. But, you know, some nice quiet roads. The leg doesn't feel too bad. In fact, it feels worse when I'm stood rather than when I'm walking. For the first few days I couldn't really walk at all. It was all I could do to get to the toilet, as it were, which is, you know, 30 feet from where I was sat. But there you go, you just never know when these things are going to happen, do you? But of course, I spoke to the doctor about it, and I said, you know, I'm thinking now this is going to be a weakness, it's going to flare up from time to time, and he agreed. He said yes. He said there's a good chance this will happen from time to time. He said you're going to have to keep it covered. So obviously scratches, brambles, things like that are a no-no, because these are the sorts of things that can set it off. And moisturise, he said. I don't know how that helps, but I've also read that, so okay, fair enough. I'm going to have to look after the area a little bit, as it were. So all of a sudden in my life I've become a man that uses product. I never thought that would happen. So it's funny how fast things change, isn't it? How a single event like this could potentially affect the rest of my life. Now, I don't know if he took one look at me and thought, yeah, this fat bugger ain't going to look after himself, this is going to happen a lot. He didn't ask me about fitness, blood pressure, or any of that sort of thing. The first doctor I saw, oh yeah, she was all over that, because, you know, I've got this this theory which is, if you want to stay healthy, yeah, avoid the doctor at all costs, because they will find something. Yeah, they will find something to give you tablets for. But of course I'm half joking about that. I definitely did need to see the doctor, that was obvious. And obviously the antibiotics haven't worked. He seemed to think that basically I just needed more of them and it would be okay. That said, I'm very much improved. Very much improved. So it is all going in the right direction. I'm guessing some of that is the antibiotics and some of that is my body fighting it. I seem to be okay at the minute. Again, pushing the pedal is not a problem. It isn't like an injury like a sprained ankle or anything like that. It is just swelling, so you know, the pulling of the skin as I tried to walk on the original, on the first few days was quite unpleasant. I wouldn't say unbearable or anything dramatic like that. It was just unpleasant. Anything touching it, unpleasant. So I couldn't really have a blanket over it or anything like that. Of course, when you have a fever and the sweats, sometimes you're hot, sometimes you're cold. Doesn't matter what the weather is outside, does it? So sometimes I wanted something over it. Mostly I didn't anyway, so it's not too bad. Now I tend to sleep on my left-hand side. Let's go. Yeah, so being the left leg and mostly on the outside of the left leg, I sort of had to teach myself to lay on my back because I didn't want, well, I just basically couldn't put any weight on it, that's for sure. What have we got here? No, we're good. Yeah, so I mean that wasn't too difficult, to be honest, because I was exhausted a lot of the time, so falling asleep wasn't too bad. It does mean, strangely or coincidentally, I had time to watch the Tour de France, or the last week of it anyway. Yeah, boring. Yeah. Now, okay. Yeah, when Poggy did his attack and put a couple of minutes into Vingegaard, fair enough. Yeah, okay. That was probably the previous week actually, and we had just happened to be watching when that happened. But obviously the last week, yeah, boring. Unfortunately, like all sport these days, it's not about winning, it's about not losing. So of course, fair enough, I'm not complaining. But as a spectator, yeah, that can be a bit dull. But I have to say, that last Sunday, ooh dear, yeah, that was good. Now, if you want TV ratings for cycling, and I just don't understand why there aren't crit races on the TV. That was effectively a crit race, wasn't it? That last day in Paris. That was exciting. And I'm not a big fan of the Wout, of the Wout van Aert, but on that day he showed himself his true colours, didn't he? I mean, don't get me wrong, I know he's an exceptional bike rider, but I always think he's a bit grumpy. Always looks like he's in a mood. I mean, I think the team and the media try and big him up a bit to not come across like that, but yeah, so I've never been a big fan of him, to be honest, but He certainly lets his legs do the talking, doesn't he? Yeah. It doesn't matter to me whether Poggy was, oh, I've done enough, second is good enough for me, I'm going to win this, blah, blah, blah. And not let him go, but didn't have the fire to follow him up the climb in Paris there. But that was still some exceptional bit of riding, wasn't it? Because let's be honest, he dropped everybody. You know, so even if there was people there, even if there was other riders there that really wanted the win, you know, the podium on the last stage, they weren't getting close. Yeah, so well done, Wout van Aert. I mean, I don't know that it means anything coming from somebody like me, obviously, but yeah, well done. That was an exciting bit of racing, and I think because of the rain I was thinking, oh god, don't fall off whatever you do on the corners and that. And of course he's a bloody cyclocross champion, isn't he? So that was very unlikely to happen, but yeah, I must admit I did get invested in him on that particular ride, and I was hoping he didn't fall off, and I was hoping that he would win. And he did. It was thoroughly deserved, and probably the most exciting day of the 3 weeks from what I can tell. I did pick up a day here and a day there on earlier stages, but yeah, that was by far, and the climax it's supposed to be, isn't it? You know, isn't that what's supposed to happen? Yeah, okay, the race was won, the race was done, but it's the last day. You know, I understand all the processional stuff to a point, but that last, what was it, 50k or so? Yeah, that's how a last day should be, shouldn't it? And of course, even with the GC being neutralised, there were still riders there that just wanted to race, and that was good to see. Anyway, that's my uneducated thoughts on the Tour de France. Did I learn anything? GC and stuff like that? Right, come on car. I want to turn right here, so I'm going to let him go by. Tactics, things like that. Well, I don't think I learnt too much I didn't already know. It was very difficult to explain to Julie why the person at the front wasn't in the lead. I still don't think she gets it. As far as she's concerned, if you're on the front, you're winning. And that's how she rides her bike. Whoop. Hello. That's better. But I think, like in so many sports these days, there are a lot of youngsters coming through that have no real care for respect and tradition of the older riders or older participants, if you like. They're just there to win, and that is good. You know, I think tennis has been a victim of the old guard just not letting go. You know, maybe younger players maybe showing too much respect, or maybe, you know, these older players. Oh dear. How are we doing here? Yeah, let's get out there because I don't really want to go into the bike lanes because then I've got to cross traffic and all sorts. Yeah, all good. Horse ahead. Yeah, maybe the reputation of these older players. You know, has had a little bit of a hold over the younger players in tennis over the years. You know. And I must admit, I lost interest in tennis some years ago because it was always the same names winning, and it had been for like 15 years. And yeah, all credit to these people. I know they're very skilled, and you know, they train and they use their wisdom and sort of court psyche, if you like, to do the best they can for themselves. They're born winners, aren't they? But yeah, when the same people and the same teams win over and over and over again, I'm afraid that's where I just pull out of sport. Yeah. That said, in the last few years, Bournemouth as a football team in the Premiership have done so well, and that is a surprise. That is something a bit different. So I do believe in following your local team for sure. Don't be a glory hunter. You know, don't be buying shirts from a team that's 250 miles away. You know, get behind your home team, because that's where you're going to find sport every weekend. You know, I do believe in that. Or for some people, buying shirts of the team they follow that's about 3,500 miles away. Hey, Michael? That said, there's not too many options for American football in the UK. Yeah, but I'm doing all right actually. I feel a bit empty, but not like I did originally. The infection and the swelling's gone down. It's still double what it should be when you compare it to the other leg. But yeah, I don't feel too bad. I don't feel too bad. Burn a few calories, go home, have some breakfast. Yeah, that'd be cool. I think Julie's got, I don't know if she's up early today, going to the gym or not. That's it. Relax. I don't feel too bad. Just turn the legs, it's fine. Of course, one thing that happened on the FCC ride is that it rained. Yeah, so I was very bad. I actually didn't clean the bikes for about 8 days afterwards. I think all the bearings and that are okay. I can't feel any rust or anything like that. But yeah, on a couple of occasions I got the bikes out. I even put one in the stand one day, and then I was just asleep, gone. Tried again the next day. Eventually I did actually manage to get them done. I still pick up some speed. I'm doing okay. So what are we on? 6:26. I reckon I'm probably doing about 14, 15 miles an hour. No headwind or anything. It's quite a pleasant breeze going through the helmet, which is nice. I'm not sweating like I was, so this is good. It's a funny thing actually, all the things that have physically happened to me over the last few months have now, I feel, been explained. And it sort of gives me a new starting point, if you like. And also something I could recognise if it happens again. Certain feelings come back, you know, I will understand what it could possibly be and what I need to do about it. But I felt after sort of 13 days it was definitely time to get on the bike, if only for an hour. Have been doing walking for the last probably 5 days. Like I said, moving actually is better than standing still, so as hard as it was to stand still and watch the bikes, amongst other things, actually walking sort of relieved the pressure a bit. So walking to the corner shop, always a bad idea obviously as far as diet goes. Walking to the high street or just going for a walk. Yeah. It was actually not too unpleasant over the last few days. It made me feel better, so definitely going in the right direction. Which is good. Right, what have we got? Right, let's go out here. I won't go down into Bournemouth. Because that means a lot of climbing required to get back up. But I will just tag a little bit on the end here. A little bit of flat road. This is very pleasant. Oh, hello. A little bit of a rub on the front, I think. Or not, I don't know. Oh dear. I did manage to get the chains re-waxed. I did remove the cranks, check the bearings, how they felt. Headset bearings, like I say, they've been sort of stuck in limbo for a week, just covered in dirt. And actually this bike does collect water, so you do have to hang it up every now and then and just let it drain out. But all is feeling good this morning, and hopefully I've done enough to knock off the excess wax, and it will be ready to go. Yeah, I think the bike actually is all in good nick. Yeah, no worse for the weather and neglect. I can feel my leg, not pain as such, but I think it, you know, when something's swollen up, the skin feels different, doesn't it? It crawls, if you like. And I think just the wind rushing round it is. Oh, I said I wasn't going to go into Bournemouth, didn't I? Let's go this way. I was on automatic pilot there for a minute. Yeah, it just feels different, doesn't it? And so the wind going past my leg does feel a bit odd, has to be said. But I feel okay physically, so not really testing myself, am I? But that's okay. That's not what this is about this morning. This is just enjoying a lovely morning, perfect weather, and finally getting back out on the bike. Does of course mean there hasn't been any videos on the channel for a couple of weeks. Just not being able to look at a screen or even having the energy. It's funny, I almost went out on the bike 2 days ago. Absolutely everything was flat. Nothing had been charged. All of the jobs that I usually do was routine, almost. Yeah, hadn't been done at all. So, yes, it's funny how everything falls away when you're not quite with it. I hadn't even thought about them either. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to head home now. I'm about 2 miles from home. Won't take me long. And if you've stayed with me this far into the video, thank you for listening. Needless to say, everything's fine. This isn't a sort of cry out for sympathy or anything like that. It's just, you know, these rides are about what happens. And that's what happened. So, yeah. Hopefully, on the road to recovery. Hopefully Julie and I can get out for some rides again soon. And there are things we really need to do too, you know. We do need to ride in other places in the UK. We do need to be a bit more adventurous now. You know, Julie's fit again. She's travelled fine, whether it be by plane or just in the car, like to the FCC ride, staying at a hotel, things like that. You know, it all works now. You know, I think the confidence is coming, and it won't be long before we start seeing something a little bit different. You know, other places in this sort of great kingdom of ours. Very picturesque places to go. So, fingers crossed. If we can actually get fit and healthy, the two of us at the same time, that would be useful. And we'll go out and do some stuff. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. Yeah, come join me again for the next one. Thank you.